Welcome to The Good Pod, where today we're talking The Good Wife, Season 2, Episode 22, Getting Off. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Reed. With me, as always, a woman that now I all of a sudden am very nervous for my other podcast co-hosts now. Marissa Garza. Marissa, you good?
What does that mean, Jason?
Well, first of all,
I don't know if I'm good. I can't answer.
Okay.
I can't answer
Well,
that
listen,
until I know what you're talking about.
Like, I felt like we had this arrangement where, you know, I was good with going to having other podcast co-hosts and doing other podcasts. But after watching this episode, I'm just not sure if you're okay with that. I gotta check back in with you. Like, you're good to have other co-hosts, right?
Yes.
You sure?
We talked about it. Yeah.
Listen, I don't want Asia or Sasha to end up murdered.
No.
Like, I'm just checking. Like, we're good, right?
What the frick, Jason?
I'm just checking. I'm just checking because I know you said we were good. You said that we could be, you know, ethically non-monogamous in podcasting.
I am personally good, and I love Asia and Sasha.
All right, let's check it.
Like, I just feel though that the fact that you think that I would do this, I am not okay with. But I am okay, and I am good in other ways.
Okay, good. I just need
okay
to
then.
Sure.
Okay
right,
then.
Cool. Good.
Great.
I'm glad we cleared that all up, Marissa. So I make sure that my other co-hosts are protected.
God forbid I start another podcast with someone else, Jason. Watch out.
And I would be fine with it, Marissa. I would be okay with it. I would be just fine. Sure, totally. But just don't do that, okay? Like, because the ethical non-monogamy only goes one way, okay?
Got it.
Make sure you know. Okay. Episode 22. One more episode left of this season.
In season 2. Yeah.
A lot's happened in this season. I don't know what is coming up for the season finale. If this is what we're getting, we got a to be continued going into the season finale. So that's interesting. But yeah, a lot going on. Before we dive into the episode, Marissa,
yes, Jason.
let's remind the listeners of some free and easy ways they can help this podcast. Do not forget to review, rate, and subscribe wherever you're listening or wherever you are watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that little thumbs up button down here somewhere. That really helps us get into the eyes of other viewers on YouTube. If you are on Apple or Spotify, you can definitely leave us a rating of 5 stars. If you're on Apple, we would love for you to leave us a written review. And guess what, kids? We have a brand new written review to read for you today.
Get out.
This one is from A_Stuckle. Is entitled Breath of Fresh Air. It says, I found this podcast while listening to the Married at First Sight podcast that I'm a co-host of. See, Marissa? It's getting us some reviews. So you can't be too mad. You can't be too mad. She says, I have binge listened up to 8 episodes in a day of this podcast.
Whoa.
Yeah, I recently started listening to only positive podcasts because of needing more positivity in my life. And this one is my number 1.
Oh.
Anyone who loves the good universe should give a listen, especially if you want to hear 2 great people talk about a great show. Thankful for Jason and Marissa. Oh, it's Stuckle. Oh my goodness.
I am over here on the pod.
I'm over here blushing. Marissa, news to me. We're positive. I was like, okay.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Marissa, I know is positive. Me, I've been described as pessimistic and, you know, whatever. But hey, Stuckle, we love that. I'm so happy that we can be included in that positive experience for you every day. And you binge listen to 8 episodes a day. I don't know if I could listen to myself speak eight times a day for 8 hours or however long it takes. That's commitment, I tell you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for writing in. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. It means a lot, especially in 2025, to be seen in a positive light. And I know sometimes we talk about like some of the topics that how they relate to now. And I'm glad that it sounds like we've been able to do that while keeping spirits high. So happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, I say it all the time, like receiving a written review, especially like that, like such a good one, really gives like a good like dopamine hit to to me, especially, like it gives me like a smile on my face. So listen, if you want to give me and Marissa smiles on our faces in the dark times of 2025, write us a written review of 5 stars. We love that. And also, if you want to just chop it up with us on email, you can also write to us at thegoodpodfeedback@gmail.com. If you want to talk about any of the shows we cover, or you just want to talk about our podcast, whether you're digging it or whether you got something to say about it, that's where you can hit us up and we can conversate with you. As always, thank you so much for rating, reviewing, and subscribing to our podcasts. Marissa, let's dive into the episode.
Another juicy one.
Good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So last we left Alicia, she has told people she is separated. She got Peter his own apartment. She told the kids. She told Jackie, like, this doesn't concern you. She told Eli, I'm doing this. And now we find her in front of David Lee, who is, I don't know, would you want him as your divorce lawyer? Because his introduction here is, this is my monastery. Anything you say here stays within here.
What you mean? Hell yeah, I want David Lee as my divorce lawyer. I sure as hell wouldn't want to go against David Lee in a court of law. So yeah, I'm signing up for a David Lee divorce all day long, because he is going to do some underhanded shit to get me my divorce settlement. He's going to give me all the good information. So yeah, I'm in the David Lee camp of, I want him to be my divorce attorney, because I sure as hell wouldn't want to be up against him.
And you could tell in the conversation that he has with Alicia, he really does have his clients' like best interests, like best financial, I will say, interests at heart. Because Alicia's going in here basically saying, like, I'm separating from my husband. He's like, but you're gonna divorce, right? Like that's the thing. And she's like, I don't know. I just want to know what my options are. I want to know how to protect myself financially. And David's asking like all the right questions, like how much money has Peter made in the past 2 years? And Alicia's like, he was in jail and I was bringing home all the money, so not much. And he actually says, like it would be better off for you if you waited until, next year to do this, because then you'd have like some money to gain from. And Alicia's like, this is a lot. Like, this is a big step for Alicia. You can tell she's kind of like, And David shows that he knows Alicia by saying, okay, look, you're like me. You like lists. I like lists. You bring me a list of all your financials. I'll make you a list of everything that you can do to protect yourself. And we can call this the Cole divorce within the walls of this law firm. And Alicia's like, great. Thank you so much for my help. And for your help. And in true David Lee fashion, he's like, that's one billable hour. You can thank me all you want, but you're going to have to pay me.
He's like, I round up. I'm like, yeah, I have no doubt, David Lee, that you would do whatever it takes to get a billable hour. But at the same time, you can tell that David Lee has a fondness for Alicia, because he's like, he wants to, he's kind of treating this with kid gloves, as he would. He's not making any snarky remarks for the most part. He's being kind and caring to Alicia. He was like, at one point, he's like, I have a minimal tolerance for mess. I'm like, David,
you're a divorce lawyer.
I feel like every time we see David, it's a mess. So it's like, that's like me saying I have a minimal tolerance for mess. Like, I don't believe that at all, one bit. But yeah, I like this interaction here, and it also goes to show you that Alicia, this has really been kind of a knee-jerk reaction for Alicia, because she found out all that information about Kalinda, and she immediately just went and threw his stuff in boxes.
Yep.
Got him into an apartment, and wasn't even thinking about the long-term goal here, because she still doesn't know whether or not she's planning on divorcing. All she knows is that she needs to be separated from this man immediately. So she's not even giving that part. She wasn't even giving that part of it any more thought. And now she has, and she's like, maybe I should go see David Lee and like see what my options are. Like, just shows you how knee-jerk this was.
Yeah, and especially after the last conversation she had with Peter, where she was like basically saying, like, begging him, say something to make you fall in love with me again so we don't have to do this, and he couldn't do it. So now she's like, ooh, okay, like, this is real. Like, I should really probably find out what could happen, or what my options are.
Yeah.
Alicia's not the only one dealing with the fallout from Peter and Kalinda's actions, because as Kalinda and Alicia avoided themselves all last episode, Kalinda is now making some moves of her own. She is planning on leaving Lockhart Gardner, because she can just tell that like Alicia's like super duper uncomfortable. So she goes and
Well, I mean, first we have to get there, because we have a confrontation between Alicia and Kalinda that gets Kalinda
Yeah.
to
This is
this
because
to this spot.
my notes were. Tell us about it. Tell us about
All
it,
right.
Jason.
So, like you said, Alicia and Kalinda, mostly Alicia, anytime she sees Kalinda, is just like, let me go the other way. But eventually, like, Kalinda's literally in Alicia's office, and Alicia
Oh,
stops and thinks, like, should I go in here or should I just avoid Kalinda again? She's like, no, you know what? Let's do this thing. And Alicia, like, literally goes in her office, sits down. Kalinda thinks this is just a normal meeting about the case. She's just like, so here's what I got. And Alicia's like, no, no, we're not doing this.
no. Like, Kalinda's like, I don't really have anything, but also, hey, what's up? What's up?
Yeah, hey,
What's up?
what's crack a lacking? And then Alicia's like, no, we ain't doing crack a lacking today. Like, she's like, listen, we both work here, so we're gonna keep it cute, like, cause we both have to keep working here, but we're not gonna talk. We're not gonna be buddy buddy. We're not gonna be going to the bar and buying drinks. And Kalinda starts to
Yeah.
try and talk, and Alicia's like, nah, stop, like, stop talking. You don't get to explain. You don't get to put things into context. You slept with my husband. It was selfish, and it is selfish for you to try and explain it away. She's like, listen, if you can work on another case, you do it.
Do it.
If you can avoid me, walk the other way, because we ain't doing this, baby. We not doing this no more. Kalinda is shooketh. She is shook to
Well,
the
and
core by
so
all this.
is Alicia, right? Like at this
Mhm.
point, because she is like holding everything back in this moment. And she says
Mhm.
to Kalinda, like, there's so many people that can see us right now. And I swear to God, if you do not leave my office, I will scream at the top of my lungs if you do not leave now.
Ooh.
And like that is
I
a
almost
side of
want- I
Alicia
almost-
we haven't seen.
No, I always wanted Kalinda to not leave. I was like, make her do it. Make her do it. Call her bluff. But because Kalinda just, at first, after Alicia says all this, Kalinda just like looks at her and just like she doesn't know what to do. She's literally just staring at Alicia. And that's when Alicia's just like, get the F out on my
Yeah.
screen. And the way Kalinda like it was great acting. Let me tell you this. Like, I don't know if it was the direction or if it was the actor choice, but like Kalinda's like fumbling with her notebook because she set a notebook down. She's like, hey girl, let's kiki. And like now she's just like like she's like fumbling to get her notebook in her hands because she is that shook about this. So she gets up, she's like shuddering as she's walking around the office, and she's just like, I gotta go. I gotta leave. She gets in the elevator, and you know, we've had almost 2 whole seasons of seeing Kalinda in situations. We've never seen her in this type of space because she's by herself in the elevator. She's literally sobbing in the elevator, like, like, oh my God. Like it was enormous. Like this was the confrontation we've been waiting for, like that we've known was coming probably for several episodes. We've just been waiting, and it was definitely worth the wait, right? Like it was really good.
Yeah, I mean, it also shows that like it's been an episode since Alicia first had, this information. Now she's still like real mad. Like she's still there and she's serious about like not talking to Kalinda going forward. And Kalinda, I think, is so used to talking to people and so used to getting her way with people and kind of like getting them to see her thing. One, Alicia knows she's good at it, so she cuts off her game before she's able to start it. And that makes Kalinda kind of like forced to see what is happening here and realize that, okay, I'm not going to be able to wiggle my way out of this one. I'm going to have to face the consequences. And that's what gets her to think, okay, I'm going to have to find somewhere else to work.
Yeah, and it kind of like, I don't know what Kalinda's thought process was here, because it seemed like she was almost kind of like, oh, Alicia probably didn't find out. Everything's probably fine. But now it kind of probably hits her like, oh, Alicia has been like being really weird to me in the last couple of days. So it's like Alicia's been walking around with this for at least a few days at this point, just avoiding her. But then, like, because this is not Alicia, right? Alicia has not been, before going to Lockhart Gardner, I'm sure Alicia was never like this confrontational, but the events of the last year, 2 years has really taught Alicia, like, no, like I'm gonna tell them about themselves if I got to, because it was in Alicia's nature to avoid the confrontation, but now she's like, no, not doing it anymore. I'm gonna lay down the law. I want to stop pussyfooting around Kalinda and tell her what the deal is. So like that, it was such a great moment in the series so far, because it was like, it's almost like full Alicia becoming like Alicia mode.
Yeah, she's like choosing herself each time she's confronting someone.
Yeah, so it was really good, really good.
Yeah. Thank you for correcting my notes. It's like they were a little out of order there for a minute. But yeah, so this whole thing gets Kalinda again to think, okay, I gotta leave. So she goes and meets up with someone that she knew before by the name of Sophia Russo. Not related to the Russo brothers because this is a character's name, but they were familiar to you, Jason. Where have you seen Sophia before?
I mean, yeah, Sophia is played by Kelly Giddish, who she's more recently known for being Rollins on Law and Order SVU. She's been a fixture on that show for quite a while. She's working her way back onto that show, but she was gone for a minute. So that's where I think most people will recognize her from. But I recognize Kelly Giddish from the soap opera All My Children from back in the day because, like, all right, first of all, she played Dixie, but she played new Dixie. Okay, so we all hated her
Whoa.
because she was recast
Oh,
from
yeah.
another actress. Who like, no, we don't like this person. We like I even know. I think I even know old
Oh.
Dixie's last name. We love Katie McLean, so that's who we are used to. So we don't like this new Dixie. But let me tell y'all, new Dixie came on the scene, and it was like, all right, I kind of like New Dixie. Like I'm not gonna front. Let me tell you, for those that haven't heard me talk about my soap opera past, let me just tell you,
It's a whole
uh,
chapter. It's a whole
it's a
chapter.
chapter of my life because I used to go stay with my grandparents on the summers, and my grandmother would watch the All My Children lineup of soap operas. So that meant I watched the ABC lineup of soap operas every day. So I got like hooked on soap operas when I was a child, and it's like it has not followed me into my adulthood, but I sometimes check out General Hospital and be like, these MFers are still doing the same stuff. Like Sonny and Carly are still effing around. Like the same actors are here doing the same thing. So like it's that's just a funny part of my life. Is so hilarious. But yeah, so that's where I know this actor's from. Story, but great tangent. I love it. But yeah, that's where I knew her from.
I just knew she was somebody. I'm glad that you were able to revisit that part of your life. I also was part of like my mom would watch As the World Turns when I was
Mm-hmm.
like when she was staying home with me. But then I did have like an All My Children like season of my life and a Days of Our Lives season of life. But I think like any good story, like it's just really good stories, you know? And I think
Mm-hmm.
there are shows that aren't quote unquote soap operas, but have definitely tuned into the vibe of a soap opera. Like we talk about this all the time. Like Cobra Kai is definitely a soap opera. You know,
Yeah.
like there are things that that format has done to influence the rest of our television viewing.
And it's really soap operas at a young age really taught me to care about like continuity of
Oh
story, right?
yeah.
Because you have these year-long storylines that will come back and rear its ugly head. So it really kind of that's really the first thing that taught me about like TV and storytelling were these soap operas. So like it's a really big part of my television watching history.
It's
Really.
what makes you so awesome at this.
Hey, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
welcome. Okay, so Kalinda goes and meets up with Sophia, who she has worked with before at an art gallery. And I at first like was like, what are you where are you going? Like what is this? But it turns out that Sophia had offered Kalinda a job before and she is like a corporate investigator. She's like checking in on like check fraud and stuff like that and
Mhm.
like watching those types of people and Kalinda rightfully said corporate isn't for her, which I could see that. And Sophia's like, they won't let you wear what you're wearing if you join. And Colin's like, look, I know I said no before, but I'm saying yes now. And I don't really want to talk about anything else. I'm here. I'm in. I'm not joking around. Like, get me into your world because I need to leave mine.
Yeah, this is how much the conversation with Alicia spooked Kalinda. She like immediately started looking for another
Yeah.
job. Like
Yeah.
I cannot stay here with Alicia because she is
She's like,
pissed with a capital P at me.
yeah. Meanwhile, Jackie, Meanwhile, Jackie, you know, the person I love and adore so much on the show, decides to stop by the house and bring the kids some lemon muffins. There's no ulterior motive here, Jason. She wouldn't be trying to manipulate the kids into, you know, thinking that their mom is wrong for doing this to her son. That wouldn't be her motive at all. I was
Come
kind of
here,
proud of the kids,
children.
though.
Come here, children. I brought you some lemon muffins. Now tell me all about your mother.
I was proud of them. This is why I think that like conversation that Alicia had last episode with them really did something, because Zach says, "Hey, Grandma, it's between my mom and my dad. Like, I don't know anything more than what you know." And Grace says, "I don't think we should talk about it." Like,
Yeah, listen,
those are big statements from her kids.
that like you said, that conversation last episode was big because it's gotten the kids to like, you know, Alicia talked about protecting them, but now I think they are protecting their mother, right? They are like, they're being like, it's mom and dad's thing. They told us to stay out of it. So, grandma, you should stay out of it too. Like, let's just let them do their thing because they really saw how this is affecting Alicia last episode. This isn't about mom being, you know, terrible to their father. Their mom is hurt. Like, their
Yeah.
mom is injured and they are now like caping up for their mom. So yeah, most of the time we can't stand Zach and Grace. Grace does something later that's just like more like, oh, Grace, really? But in this moment, they're
Two
good.
thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kalinda comes back from talking to Sophia and talks to Will, and it was basically like, "Hey, here's some information about the case, which we'll talk about in a minute. But also, I'm putting in my 2 weeks." And Will's like, "Excuse me, what? What's happening?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm doing that." And he's like, "Well, we were going to make you the head of a department. We were going to bring," and calls her Kay. Like, "We were
Yeah,
going to
like
make you
when does
head
this
of the
become a thing?
department, Kay."
When we started going with the K stuff, like, what? Hey, K, like, this is what we do now?
And she's having none of it. She's like, "When I'm done, I told you when I started, I'll do this for as long as I can until I'm done, and I'm done. Like, this is no conversation." And Will's just like, "Okay, okay." The case progresses, and Alicia is having a conversation with her opposing lawyer, and Grace comes down the stairs at the law firm, and like Alicia's on high alert, as she should be. Like, there's like, the world is crazy. Her world is crazy. Why would Grace be showing up at work? And she drives Grace home and has this conversation in the car. Like, "I know you're hurting, Mom, but can't Dad help you because he's also hurting? Can't hurt people help each other be unhurt," basically? And she lets it out that, like, she says, you know, Dad doesn't understand what's going on. And Alicia's like, "Well, why? Why do you know that? Or how do you know that?" She's like, "Grandma told me. I probably shouldn't be telling you. I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but Grandma told me." And Alicia's like, "Okay, if Grandma comes over, I need you to call me. I need you." And she says, like, "Jackie's lonely. She's gonna come over. But when she comes over, I need you to call me. Like, this is serious."
He's like, grandma's crazy, so I'm gonna need you to make sure. I'm gonna make sure that you stay away from her, and she's gonna get her crazy on you.
Yeah, and this gets Alicia to go back into David's monastery and basically say, "I need to know about custody." He's all ready to give her all this like financial information, like, "Don't put money into your retirement accounts right now, like, do all this stuff." And he didn't realize that it was getting this serious. And Alicia just like really wants to know what her options are. And he says, "Well, track how much time you spend with the kids versus him, do all this stuff." And she's like, "Okay, but like, do grandparents have any say in where my kids go?" And he's like, "No, it's just the parents." She's like, "Oh, phew." But again, his advice here is to delay this divorce for as much as possible for her own benefit.
Yeah, because I mean, Peter's gonna be making some money as a state's attorney, so we don't
Yeah,
want to
like,
split your income. We want to split his income. So like that's what you want to do. So you want to wait a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah. Just like give yourself something to play with here. So at a point in the case, Kalinda and Alicia actually have to quote unquote work together. And Kalinda is asked by Will to prep Alicia for her questioning in court the next day. Oh boy, we thought the conversation before was tense. This conversation, I think, is even more like Alicia is really letting Kalinda know how hurt she is in the situation. Kalinda's like, "Do you want me to get someone else to help to brief you?" And she's like, "Oh, you mean someone who didn't sleep with my husband?" Like,
Ooh,
oof,
yikes!
oof. And then she continues to say, like, Alicia asks Kalinda, like, "How was my husband? Was he good?" Like, whoa,
It
where
was
is this
like
person?
it's just like haymaker after haymaker from Alicia to Kalinda,
Yeah.
like boom, boom. It's like body blow, right to the jugular. Oh, it was just
And
delicious.
also like the delivery of Alicia's lines, because when Kalinda says, "I found another job, don't worry, like, I'm leaving next week," Alicia's like, Good.
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 Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, and meanwhile, like, Will can kind of like see that the vibes are off between these two. Like, these are two best friends that are no longer best friends, and he doesn't necessarily know what's going on there.
Yeah, Kalinda is walking out of the walking out of the conversation with Alicia almost as if she's got a concussion and just like walking wobbly of like, oh my god. Like these discussions that these people have in this show literally leave them stumbling around because this is like the third time I've seen someone stumble from a conversation like just got hit in the face with like a brick, like, oh my god, like I'm wobbly on my feet. That conversation knocked me out so much. It's like it's so funny. Like, yeah. But just talk a little bit more about that, like that Alicia Kalinda conversation. Like Alicia's like,
Yeah.
girl, you looked at me like you looked at me as my friend and lied to me every day, knowing what this was. And like you said, even says, I asked you, literally, if you slept with my husband when I first met you, and you said you did. So you lied to
Yeah.
my face. And Kalinda's like, yeah, I know, but listen, like, and Kalinda, almost like Peter last episode, is trying to sweep this under the rug. She's like,
Yep.
listen, Alicia, like,
I didn't know
I met
you.
you, and that was after I slept with your husband. And for me, it was just like a one-time thing. He was just a guy that had a wife. You were just a housewife. I didn't even know what you looked like. You were just like nothing to me. That's just what I do. It's like, oh, Kalinda, this is not
Just
making
keep
it any better,
digging.
babe.
Just
It's not
keep
making it
digging.
any. It's not making it any better.
It's horrible because she's like, first of all, just a housewife. What? Like
Mm,
that, like that's something that Alicia has gone against for her entire existence, really. But yeah, like this idea that it doesn't matter because it happened like before they were friends.
hmm
Again, it's not the crime, it's the cover up. Because again, Alicia said, hey, I asked you about this and you lied and you looked at me. You looked at me every day and you knew
hmm
that this was the thing that you did and you didn't say anything. And Kalinda, I know we talk about how callous she can be. We talk about how cold or like how she's like detached in a lot of situations. But because she cried in the elevator, we know how much she cares about Alicia. And I think like this is also Alicia like or Kalinda putting that armor back on because she doesn't show any remorse here. She's just like, that's who I am. That's what I do. Like this is who
Yeah.
I am. And I think Alicia saw a different version of Kalinda that Kalinda never saw in herself. And so the fact that she doesn't have this anymore, she's kind of like reverting back to the cold and callous version that she was. To Leela,
Yeah,
I
but
guess. I don't know. We never really meet her, but
yeah, she's still like showing that emotion because like she literally goes like as you said, Will sees her and is like, that's weird, looks odd. She literally goes into an office, throws stuff off a desk onto the
yeah.
floor, like tells one of the workers like, get the hell out of here. Like, oh my god, like she is like the amount of things that people have thrown on the floors in the last two episodes are funny. That's just kind of like a television trope. Like when you're mad, you just want
I
to throw things off
always
your
want to
desk.
do that. Like I always want to do that, but then I'm like, I will break something that is mine and I will be responsible for picking it up. Like if it's
Yeah.
not my stuff, I'll do it in a heartbeat. But like I mean, like if it was like a set, not someone I know or anything like that, but I'm like, oh man, I'm just gonna have to clean this up. I don't want to
If it
do
was that
that. Like,
if it was that boyfriend stuff you talked about last episode, you do
yes.
it. But
Oh,
like
yes.
I would like think about like it's so funny to think you have that much rage, but then stop yourself and be like, actually, let me take this computer off the desk before I
Yes,
do it.
that's really
Let me
what it is.
let me take this tchotchke costs a lot of money. Let me get these pens that I bought the other day at Stationery Fest. Get those off the desk. All right, I think this is a good collection of things to throw on the floor. They're just random books and papers. I can pick those up. And then just like, and then you go, ah, just throw everything on the floor. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that's the Marissa Garza way
Yeah.
to
That
throw a
is it.
temper tantrum. Yeah.
That is.
The
Especially because
responsible way to throw a temper tantrum.
yeah, like I don't want anyone to get hurt, but also I want to have some rage.
Yeah.
I really think one of these days I'm gonna have to go to one of those
Rage
rage
room.
room. things.
Yeah, I want to do
Yeah.
that too. I so want to do that
Yeah.
because I see it. I see it on these stupid reality shows I watch all the time, where a group outing is a rage room, and I'm like, I really want to do that. I want to
No,
smash like their
yeah.
old TV. Like that's something I really. Not to say that I have a lot of rage in me. I
But you
kind of do,
might.
but like I would like to just like smack the shit out of some stuff one day and just see if it makes me feel even better than I usually feel. Like maybe I do
Yeah.
have some rage. I just kind of tamped it down, and maybe doing that would
Yes.
be like feel a lot. I didn't even realize I was not feeling good, but that made me feel so much better.
I think being like the eldest daughter and growing up when I did, like I was taught not to be angry, and so
Mm-hmm.
like in public, not to be
Yeah,
angry in public. Like that's something you do in your room when you close your door and like no one is
screaming to
around.
your pillow about your mom, about
Yeah.
how much you hate your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And so I've kind of like defaulted to not being angry. So like when someone around me is mad about something, I'm like, "You be angry. You go. You hold that anger. Like
go off, queen.
yeah, like be angry." So yeah, definitely need to be in a rage room at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Um not I mean, I think Alicia and Kalinda could probably do with one as well. But Will and Kalinda have an interesting conversation. Of course, it started by something having to do with the case, but also in true Kalinda fashion, she just kind of like asks these random questions like, "What do you want with life, Will? Like, what do you want the same things as Alicia?" And Will's like, "What is going on?
What the hell are you talking
Like,
about?
what? What?" And Kalinda tells Will that she's separated from her husband, and you can see Will kind of like perk up, like, "What? Like,
Well,
what?"
and Will's just like, say what now? So I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things going through Will's head right now. Of like,
Yeah.
Will's like, Clinda, why do you even know to tell me about this? Like, it's probably one thought of like, so what do I care that Alicia's separated from her husband? And almost like Clinda's like, I know that you have a thing for Alicia. Like almost if that's a thought of like, and it's almost confirmed for Clinda that Alicia and Will like kind of sort of want to have a thing going on because he's just like,
Yeah.
at no point is he like, what do I care? I'm not into Alicia. He just kind of like he almost admits like, yeah, but there's too much issues there. Like there's too much that has happened. It's like not like a I don't think of Alicia that way. It's like yeah, I want to, but nah. But and
Yeah.
also he has the Tammy thing going on right
Yep.
now. Him and Tammy just kind of solidified their thing last episode, not last episode, but like 2 or 3 episodes ago. So
Yep.
that's also hanging in the air. So like this is not a good time for Will to be thinking about this.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Now what? And so, like, I think in this way, this is like Kalinda's way of being sorry, of like
Yeah,
trying to be nice to Alicia, of say, like nudging Will in her direction. Like,
yeah.
and she's been doing this for a couple of episodes ever since she kind of knew that Andrew was looking into this whole thing and he found out and Carrie knew. Like, there are a lot of people that know now.
Oh yeah,
And so,
this is almost like a it's a secret everybody knows at this point. The
yeah.
only people that don't know are like the public at large.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
this is Clinton's way of like making amends. Like, yeah, but see, I got you, Will, so we're fine now, right? Like that's not really how things work,
Yeah.
Clinda. Clinda, I know that you
Yeah.
are kind of like not really a human with like most emotions, but this is not how you apologize by getting someone another boyfriend. Like, see, I took one man away from you, but now I'm giving you this man. So even Stevens? It's like no,
That's how
not
yeah,
really. I don't
that's
know.
not how it goes.
Yeah, because I mean, Kalinda like comes right out. She's like, "Will, what do you want out of life? Is the same things you that Alicia wants?" It's like, oh, so you're just not even using pretense anymore. You're trying to hook me and Alicia up. That's what you're doing.
It's that conversation. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was a really like roundabout way to be like, you like Alicia, right? Like
Yeah, and
that's what's
and
going on.
Will kind of uses the rationale that Alicia was preaching to him earlier in the season of like she's married, she has
Got
kids, like
kids.
it's there's too much going on. It's like, oh, you weren't thinking about that when you were calling her on, on the night Peter announced that he was running for state's attorney and being like, F it, like we don't need a plan, we could do this and that. Oh, so now you're trepidatious about the kids and the marriage.
Well, but then, Kalinda reminds him, like, it's never a good time. Like,
Hmm.
there's always going to be something. And I think, like, he sits with that for a little bit. But he's also, like, his life is more complicated than it was when he made that first phone call. Like, he was
Yeah.
all in on Alicia in that phone call. But now he's, like you said, he's got the Tammy situation. They've worked together longer. There's things in the mix that weren't there before.
Well, and the fact that Kalinda is putting Alicia's business out in the street of like, they're separated
Yeah.
now. And when it was like, why did they separate? Kalinda won't even like. Kalinda's like, actually, I'll keep that to myself because it's messy for me. But just know that they're separated. But don't tell
Yeah.
Alicia I told you because she's already mad enough at me.
Yeah, I think, I think she is in the boat of, well, if I'm going down, I might as well like burn the whole place, like burn my whole reputation down of like, I know
Hmm.
she's gonna find out that I told Will, but you know what? I'm already in the doghouse. I'm already like expelled from her life. So there's nothing else that I can really do.
Yeah.
She does go back to Sophia to firm up what she will start, working on with her. Sophia apparently got a call from Will, and she's like, this is like a salary negotiation type thing. And she's like, no, I'm serious. Like, my case is over. I can start on Monday. And Sophia's like, great. I just got this new client. It's called the state's attorney's office. You can go work for them. And I have never heard Kalinda laugh, like laugh, but she like literally, like she laughs. Like, you can't, I mean, you can't write this, but even though it was written,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just one of those moments.
This woman chuckled. She was like literally chuckling out loud, like, "Oh my god, really? Like you want me to go back to work for Peter now? Like, nah, that ain't happening."
The very next scene, she's back in Will's office saying, I'm not leaving. I'm staying. And he's like, what's this about? She's just like, I wanted to leave and now I don't. Like, it's that simple.
It's
Like,
all you need to know.
that's what it is. And he's like, is this about Alicia? Is Alicia why you're leaving? And she's like, I'm not leaving. So why would it be about Alicia? And before Kalinda leaves Will's office, he says, at some point, you're going to have to confide in someone. And Kalinda says, no, what I've learned is that I don't have to confide in anyone. So a bit more detached
I
from
thought, yeah,
as
exactly.
usual.
I thought I needed friends. I thought I needed someone in my life, but this thing with Alicia has now taught me that it's better to not have anyone in my life because then I don't have anyone to disappoint. I don't have anyone to upset. So I don't need anyone to do anything for me. I will be a nomad the rest of my life, live alone because that's the easier, better way to do it instead of hurting someone enough that they hurt your feelings. So I'm gonna be cold and detached from now on. It's like, oh, poor Kalinda.
Yeah.
She's going back into robot mode. She had kind of gotten like she was being more pulled out of her robot shell by her
Well,
friendship with Alicia. Now she's like right back to a robot. Meep,
well,
meep,
and
meep.
even in the last episode, her nurse friend had invited her to lunch. Like she hadn't done like just by being herself, she was being seen as like a friendly person. She was giving out a vibe that said,
Mhm.
I want to be friends with someone. And that person picked up on it and asked her, and she can't do it anymore because of what's
But
happened.
I always thought that was, but that's Kalinda though. Kalinda always gives off this like, yeah, I want to be friends because she's had a lot of
Yeah,
people that have like thought that Kalinda was going to be their thing. And because Kalinda is trying to get information out of them, she's acted like that. But no one's ever truly been, it was what it feels like. No one's ever truly been
right,
Kalinda's friend
right.
or truly been her loved one. She's always used people for information, maybe even for just like
For
intimacy. Like,
sexual
but she's,
favors, yeah.
yeah, she's never had that real feeling for anyone. And Alicia was probably the first person in a long time that she had that actual, genuine friendship feeling for. And now that is torn to pieces. And she's just like, and that has really just kind of stepped her back several spots of like, nope, I don't need anyone because that only leads to heartbreak in the case of me and Alicia. So I don't
Yeah.
know if that's going to affect her kind of friendship flirtship with Carrie down the line because
Yeah.
it feels like outside of Alicia, Carrie was another person that she was forming a genuine bond with. So I don't know if that's going to affect that relationship, if she's going to like put him at arm's length now, but this conversation will just shows us like, nope, I don't need human interaction and friends. That I've just got burned by that, so I'm out of that business.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad to see her get there, and I hope she digs herself out of it, but knowing Kalinda, it's probably going to be a while. before
Yeah, for
before
sure.
she opens up to somebody else. On the Alicia, oh, go ahead.
Well, but I mean, at the end of that scene, we get Kalinda, like, because there's a big meeting going on. Alicia's
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Kalinda comes in, sits down, and just like stares at Alicia like, I
You're
ain't going
stuck with
nowhere.
me.
So
Like,
like, deal with it, girl. And that kind of that again shows you how detached she has made herself. Like, now I'm just gonna act like a asshole and be like, hey, I'm here, deal with me. I'm not gonna apologize anymore. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just here, so deal with it. Like, ooh,
yeah.
yikes.
Yeah, it's like I will be that, like, that pebble in your shoe. Like, I am not leaving. I am going to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even the shoe thing is just like a I'm not going anywhere.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not
but like
bowing down
there's
to
no way
you,
to
and
get
it
rid of it.
begins.
Like
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna be here.
Yeah,
You
isn't
can't
it?
you
Because
can't.
that's technically the last scene of the show. We hear about a judge murder, and it is a to be continued. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah.
We'll see about next episode.
But one more thing happened on the Alicia front. The most epic, epic takedown of Jackie that we've seen so far, at least.
Yeah,
Alicia, with this information that Grace has given her, decides to go visit Jackie in her hoity-toity societal place.
yeah.
And Jackie's like, "Oh my gosh, you're here. That's so great. Let me introduce you to my friend." And Alicia's like already left. She's
Yeah.
already left the building, trying to get to a different place to have this conversation. And she tells Jackie, like, straight up, if you want to visit my kids, you need to call ahead of time. And Jackie's like, this is so disrespectful. You're trying to turn my grandchildren against me. She's like, you're trying to turn my children against me. And she like continues. She's like, why are you so upset? And I was just like, I don't sound upset. Do I sound upset to you? Because I don't sound upset. And she continues by saying,
I'm like,
Every-
in my TV watch, I'm like, you sound
you're
pretty
upset.
upset, Alicia. You're upset. We can tell. Yeah, you're not
Upset.
yelling, but you're mad. You're upset.
And she continues to tell Jackie, I've come to understand that you need to hear things 2 times to understand them.
Ooh, ooh, wee. Oh, hit her again, hit her again.
And Jackie's response is they're his kids. He'll get custody. And Alicia's just like, oh yeah, because he banged a prostitute 18 times. Like that's really gonna work out. That's what's gonna happen.
It's like, Alicia, oh my, Alicia, you don't talk like that, Alicia. Banged a hooker 18. I was like, oh, this is dirty. Alicia's come out to play now. This is around the way Alicia. That's like out here being like, he banged a hooker 18. Like, I was clutching my pearls, and I don't even have pearls to clutch. I was like, oh my gosh, she did not just say that to Jackie.
Yeah. And Jackie, of course, is like, I do have to give props to the actress because you can tell like her shoulders are rolled over. She's like not. You can tell she's in a weak position, but she yells after Alicia as she goes down the hall. I know what happened at your house. And Alicia's like, I don't even know what that means, but okay.
Like, wait, what? Like, what do you even like? I said the same thing. I was like, what does she mean? I don't understand. What did
I was
Jackie
your
think she
housekeeper.
saw?
I think it's the drugs.
The drugs. What drugs?
Zach had drugs, like because what's her face? What's her face? The blonde chick.
Zach had drugs?
Didn't he have drugs?
I don't remember
Or
that.
she was looking for drugs. There was like she was going through the trash, she was going through stuff, she was trying to find stuff, and I think she found something.
Oh, I don't remember that. But like, what? I guess that's what Jackie thinks she has on Alicia. Is like,
Yeah. Well,
this
I
is
know what
Jackie
happened at
grasping
your
a
house, but you didn't know what happened before that?
Well, I mean, Jackie wasn't needed at the house before that because he was only there
That's fair.
because
That's fair.
Peter was gone. And I mean, I just feel like this is Jackie like grasping at the last straw
Oh
as she
yeah.
can of anything. I'm like, Alicia's like, girl, please, like, girl, bye. Like, literally turns around like, I don't even know what the f you're talking about. I'm out of here. Like, see you later. And Jackie is just like jaw on the floor, like, wow. You
Not
can tell she's just
only
like dumbfounded.
was this conversation had, but Jackie is the woman we're having this conversation in the place that she had it is even worse. It's like amplifying the conversation that was had by like 1,000 because Jackie is all about appearances. Jackie is all about making sure that she knows that she belongs in certain places. Can you imagine if someone came down the stairs and heard that conversation? Could you imagine if someone
Mhm.
heard from the other hallway? Like the amount, chef's kiss by Alicia for choosing when to have this conversation and how to make it hurt the most, because I think it really knocked Jackie off her heels there, because it was not expected. Because she arrives and she's like, "Oh my gosh, my daughter! I know you've heard me talk about her a lot. My daughter-in-law's here." And then for her to deliver, hit after hit after hit in a place that is Jackie's territory, in a place where she is there telling everyone how great her son is and how great her grandchildren are and all of this stuff. She picked her really. It was a good play by Alicia, I think.
Yeah, Alicia came to Jackie's turf and just like served her. Like
Yeah,
you got served.
yeah, yeah.
Bam. Got
Speaking of
served.
getting served, we do have a court case to talk about in this episode. Oh, we once again see our good friend Nancy. Nancy, I forget her name.
Crozier.
Nancy
Nancy Crozier.
Crozier, aka Meryl Streep's daughter, and Will are doing jury selection for this case. Nancy Crozier starts off by saying, "This is a case about sex, and sex makes me feel wiggly, and I don't like it." And was like, "This is about contract law. Like you can think it's about sex, but it's about contract law." And basically, there's a site who's owned by Sarah Silverman, but this is a
Mhm.
site that is used to coordinate like situations for swingers and or open marriages and or cheating. Like you don't have to, you could be non-monogamous, or you could be using this to cheat on someone. Like she doesn't really care. It's just a way for people to hook up.
Yeah, I mean it's Ashley Madison is basically
Yeah.
what this is. And yeah, the Sarah Silverman is the person running the site, and the plaintiff, her husband, was killed by someone that
Yes.
he met on the site. So it's like, ooh, sticky situation. And listen, we had two banger of opposing counsel. We had Patty Nyholm last
Patty.
episode. We've got Nancy Crozier this episode. Two lawyers we've been really acquainted with, who at this point now, both of those lawyers that we have worked with and now working against. And it's like Nancy is one of those that has her shtick, right? Her shtick is she's just a down home country girl who's so innocent and sweet, and oh my gosh, sexual stuff. I don't know how to deal with that.
Sex.
Oh my gosh, Judge, look at me. I'm just a sweet, young, innocent thing. And so that's Nancy Crozier's like,
Yeah. And then like in the
thing.
same breath though, like the judge is like calls her Mrs. Crozier and she goes,
Mhm.
"It's Miss, but I am looking." Like she knows exactly what she's doing, and she let the judge know that in that particular instance.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
actually the judge who I also recognized,
He
let's
played
see,
Ira. I'm mad about you, right?
I guess. I don't know about that, but he also played a guy on yes, I'm looking at his IMDb right now. Yes, Mad About You. He
Okay.
also was on that show Episodes. Did you watch Episodes with Matt
No.
LeBlanc? He was
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he was the head of the network, and he was like really sleazy and really like, gross, which is like like seeing him in this, and when they're talking about sexual stuff, he gets like distracted later by like the
Yes.
sexual images on TV. It's like he is that guy. He is a good creep he's a good guy to play a creep kind of. And I just kept seeing
Yes.
the episode's character who was kind of really a creep, and I was just kind of like putting that on this judge. So it was very interesting
It
to have
fits.
that experience. Yeah, definitely
It
fits.
fits. Yeah, so Nancy's doing her best to make this about sex, and was like, "Okay, fine. If this is about sex, then we also want to bring in this like murder investigation that has to
Mhm.
do with the site as well." Like, okay. And the judge is like, "How do we get this?" Cut to Carrie and Kalinda talking about this murder. And Carrie, this was funny to me. Like, Carrie's talking about in the murder, the man's penis is cut off and put on ice. And in this situation, Carrie's like crossing his legs. He's like,
Makes me a little uncomfortable.
yeah,
A
like,
little uncomfortable
oh,
to talk about.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, and
I
yeah, go ahead.
no, I was also gonna say I like in this situation. In this, also in this, Carrie talks to Glinda. He's like, "Yeah, and by the way, I'm staying here. Like I thought it'd be weird because I didn't think Peter would want me to stay here with my icy relationship with Alicia." And it's like, dude, again, Peter is not thinking about you. He didn't care about
Well,
that. He only wanted you because you have a nice relationship with Alicia. That's the only reason you're there. So he still doesn't understand why he's there.
He's still thinking he's hot stuff when really he's being exploited for knowing Alicia. Like, that's it. And
Definitely.
right before that conversation, or he talks about that, he talks about how he's gonna, stay away from making jokes about shrinkage or anything like he's still think like that's part of who he is. He thinks he's just like so high, and Clint is like, you kind of just did. Like, this is a thing that you
Yeah.
just did this. But apparently this man was killed by someone named Cynthia R, but that is not their real name. And Carrie is trying to connect this murder to a female suspect in Texas who's also castrating men throughout Texas. So that's where they think this is going. Kalinda finds out that this murder case is a year old. It's cold. So Will's like, okay, cool. Like, we can work with this. There's no proof that this has anything to do with the site. But hey, Alicia, like, we need to get like sympathy from the jury. So we're going to need you to take on a more prominent role. We're going to need you to take, first chair on this. And Alicia's like, why? Because I was cheated on by my husband? Like, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that could be part of it.
and it's so crazy because this is, in the order of the episode, this is before Alicia confronts Kalinda.
Yeah.
Kalinda's in the room, and Alicia gets in there. She's like, "Oh, why? Because I was cheated on by my husband." Does not look Kalinda in the eye at all. Only looks at Will and Diane. Is just like only talking to them literally. I think Kalinda even clocks that. Kalinda's just like looking like,
Yeah.
"Is this?" So it's Alicia has this like indignation about being cheated on, and it's catching everyone else off guard because when she says that, she's like, "Oh, because I was cheated on." Like, I mean, Will and Diane are like, I mean, yeah, we didn't want to say that out
Kinda.
loud, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, like, are you okay with that? And Alicia's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. I was like, oh, this is new boss Alicia is in town, and she is just watch out because she'll mow you down if she has to.
Yeah. So Alicia goes to talk to Stephanie, aka Sarah Silverman, and she knows. She's like, "Hey, you're here to rub off on me, right? Like, you're supposed to get the jury to have sympathy for me." She's like, "Yep, yep, yep." But like, do you feel bad for the other side? Do you feel bad for the other wife in terms of what happened? She's like, "Yeah, I feel bad that her husband's dead, but I don't feel bad about pretty much anything else." I like the analogy here of, do you blame the beer for the DUI? And Alicia says, no, but I might blame the bartender. Like, that shows where her head's at in this
I
in this
mean,
case.
yeah, this is a very interesting case for Alicia to catch, especially dealing with what she's dealing with right now, because, she goes, she asked, because you can tell that Alicia has some sort of bias towards Stephanie. She's like, because the whole case, she's like looking at Stephanie with a certain lens. She's speaking to Stephanie rather coldly, where, Alicia,
Yep.
we're used to Alicia being like a shoulder for the client to cry on. But Alicia has just been kind of like very cold to Stephanie the whole time. Stephanie even clocks it. And you can tell Alicia is like looking at Stephanie as like this, you help people cheat like you helped my husband cheat on me back in the day. Like you would be that type of person. So it's like you can tell Alicia's feelings are coming out in this case.
Well, and Stephanie doesn't do herself any favors by telling Alicia that there's a porn movie about her
Oh
and that
boy.
she should be glad that men see her in that way and like have a good time.
Ugh,
And Alicia's like, yeah, no, that does not help in any way, shape, or form.
no. Mm-mm.
But she does learn that Stephanie has 3 kids, and so she thinks, she can work with that.
And it's interesting too how Alicia looks at Stephanie because like when Stephanie tells Alicia she has 3 kids, Alicia's like,
You
you
would have kids?
have children? You a temptress, you a dirty affair purveyor, or a mother have children? Like you just tell like Alicia's taken aback by the fact that she like Alicia didn't even think to ask that because no way in Alicia's mind
Right.
could this dirty person have children.
Like, well, you did this to your children? And then like in the back of my head, she's probably like, a married woman did this with children. I could probably do this with Will. A married man did this with children. I could probably do this with Will.
Well,
Like, it's like a permission slip. Like, it's just like a look into the possibility that this could
let's talk.
happen.
Let's talk a little bit about that because like, we didn't really cover the Alicia segment. I don't know if it was just coming up in your notes here, but there's like a couple moments here in this episode where one, Alicia and Will are like
Oh,
looking at
yeah.
each other in the eye across the room, 2 separate
Yep.
rooms. Will looks at her and mouths like, "You okay?" Like he sees her looking at him. And he's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Mhm, yeah."
Well, yeah, this comes up after a conversation with Stephanie too. because Stephanie asks, well, we'll talk about it when we get there. But there is another moment where this happens.
Okay.
Back in the courtroom, Nancy has her client on the stand, and it's basically like your husband, you and her husband were great until he found this website, right? Like he didn't cheat on you or anything until this website. And then it was like, when did you learn about this website? And it's like after he died. And what did you find out? We saw his profile. And so of course Nancy has to make a big show in court of like, okay, I'm going to show you these photos, but they are of strong sexual nature. This is where the judge gets a little distracted by some of the photos that are there. And she continues questioning, like, did your husband cheat on you before this site? Like, before this happened, was this even a thing in his mind? Trying to really put the site in the position of making this man cheat on his wife. Alicia continues with questioning and finds out that there was this woman with the last name of Wiggins who had put a restraining order, and his, like, Nancy's client, the widow on the stand, is like, that was her fault, like, that my husband had nothing to do with that, like, she was crazy, this is not what's going on, it was coworker. And Alicia's like, okay, well, like, do you want to read the restraining order that she filed against your husband? She's like, no, because I took an oath to trust my husband. Like, oh, okay, well, when was this restraining order issued? And it was issued in 2009. And that was before the site existed. So this is kind of putting a hole in the timeline that Nancy had just outlined. Meanwhile, Kalinda is eyeing Nancy's legal pad and noticing she's still drawing a bunch of hearts and a bunch of things all over her legal pad. Now it's time for Alicia to prep Stephanie to go on the stand. And this is where I think Alicia's bias really comes out, because Stephanie is talking about, like, hey, this isn't cheating. This is an agreement between adults. Like, this, people want to have sex with people outside of their marriage. This monogamy is not natural. This is how our, humans work. And Alicia's like, okay, but why do you have a panic button then on your website that, like, hides it from people? If you're so proud of this, why do you have this button that can, like, basically turn off your site if they wanted to, which you could just, like, switch to another tab. But yeah, I know it was 2011, but anywho. and Stephanie says, you don't have to share my philosophy to use my website. Like, she's true capitalistic answer here. Like,
good argument.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And this is when Alicia goes, basically, like, how do you do this? Why do you do this?
Alicia switches from lawyer mode to wronged wife mode. She's like, personal question, how in the hell do you live with yourself?
Yeah. And I mean, Stephanie's doing a great job of saying, like, I love my husband. I talk to my husband about everything that I do with these other people. I want to spend the majority of my time with my husband. And Alicia's like, but why would you sleep with other people? Wouldn't that hurt him? And her response is like, that is coming out of fear. That's not coming out of love. Like, if it's coming out of love, you would want the most love you could possibly have, even if that's, with other people. And Stephanie says, so you basically like to tie them down. Huh? And she's like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like, that's how I like to do it. And then she asks, aren't there, men around, like in the Starbucks line or something, that you look at from time to time? And this is when she's like, we get a little Will montage, but then when she gets home, this woman pulls out the Chicago magazine that Will was in at the beginning of the season for Most Eligible Bachelors. I was like, Alicia, what are you about to do?
Listen, first of all, let me talk. Okay. There's so much I want to say about this, because number one, Alicia goes into her drawer. I'm like, whoa, like, what's she about to grab? This is not an HBO show. This is not a prestige show. I don't know what she's about to grab. And she goes into the drawer to grab. She takes out a magazine. I was like, oh, it's the magazine, almost like a, when you're a kid, you got a Playboy and you just hit under your mattress. The magazine is crumpled, so Alicia has been, like, looking at this a bunch, and it's like, oh, Alicia, like, should we excuse ourselves, or do you have something you're about to, like, do with this magazine? It's not even like it's a magazine of Will, like, fully clothed. It's not even like he's in his boxers. He's fully clothed, and she's, like, doing something with that magazine. I don't know.
or
What
has
you might
been
say, or
doing
it definitely
something.
has been, definitely because it's crumpled. She's been holding it with one hand and doing other things with the other.
Other
Maybe I don't
things.
know.
Yeah.
And but that, so I also want to go back to that conversation with Stephanie because you can tell Alicia has this very singular mindset. She can't imagine anyone living their lives like this. And I think it's interesting to see this in a 2025 lens, as we talk about a lot. Like, we talk about the show in a 2025 lens where the thought of ethical non-monogamy is so taboo in 2011. And it's not commonplace now, but it's definitely
An
more in the
option.
zeitgeist. Yeah, it's more in the zeitgeist. It's more accepted. It's no longer really taboo for some of the population of America. It's kind of like it's a thing that people know about. There are shows based around it,
It's an
right?
option on dating apps.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like
So
it's something that's out there in, like you said, in the zeitgeist, that it's an option for people when putting together what their relationship would look like.
yeah, like
It's an
there
option
are
for
whole
people.
yeah, there are
It
whole
always
reality
has
shows.
been, but
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
more
Right.
out
And
there.
it's so interesting how Alicia kind of I don't know if it casts Alicia in a great light because it makes her seem kind of like snobby and stuck up to not even consider this an actual lifestyle, because Stephanie is posing this as a lifestyle she's living. She's not posing this as like scandalous. This is just her life. She has chosen to live her life this way, and that's what she wants to do with her life. Everyone in her life is agreeing to it. She's not,
Yep.
sleeping around with anybody, but Alicia is really kind of shaming her for this lifestyle, to be like, how could you do that to someone? Like, how could I do that to someone? No, this is a setup we have that we all love. I mean, listen, we'll find out stuff later, but Stephanie's like, I'm into it, my husband's into it, we all know what the deal is, so no one is sneaking around anybody, no one is cheating. And Alicia is still like clutching her pearls, like, how could you do this to someone? It's like, no, it's not, that's not what this is.
You know what I thought in this scene? I was like, oh my god, she sounds like Jackie. Like,
Yeah, for sure. Yes,
oh my God. And then I was like, oh,
exactly.
if this is what she was like, this is why Peter, like, what if this was the version of Alicia that Peter fell in love with? And that is why, like, he thought Alicia would be okay with things, or like, you know what I mean? And now, like, her whole world has opened up ever since she found out what Peter did, like, since the first episode. But, like, even more so with this idea that love can exist in a different form, and love and sex can be separated for certain
Yeah,
people.
and it even kind of holds up a mirror to Alicia, where Stephanie's like,
Yeah.
you've never seen anyone else and had like carnal thoughts about them. And Alicia's like, oh shit. Yeah, I do think
So
about Will in
yeah.
a sexual way. So I mean, it is also kind of showing Alicia like, oh yeah, I kind of think that way. Also, so it's like it's a weird kind of way, but it's weird because I don't know if it's a separation of love and sex, because I still don't know if Alicia loves Peter or if she was just kind of sticking out for the kids with Peter. Was kind of
Well,
what I felt like.
yeah, and I don't know, I don't know if Will was around when she did love Peter. Like, I think
Right.
that, like, the Will and Alicia have this history that I think would be hard to ignore, no
Yeah.
matter what her relationship with Peter was at the time.
Exactly. So
And
I
the
think this
show
is a
shows
very go ahead.
I was just the show shows us this. Like, she pulls out the magazine, she has like these thoughts, and then we see that scene. Like, it's like she went to work the next day and like really looked
Mhm.
at Will, like
Yeah.
really looked at him through the window. And Will at first like doesn't notice, but then of course he notices because he's Will and she's Alicia, and he's like, "What's going?
It's like,
Are you okay? Is
are you
everything all
give
right?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, everything's fine."
Will's like, are you giving me the eyes right now? Is that what's happening here? You give me the eyes? Like so much so he's like, are you okay? Like, are you giving me the
Well,
eyes or are you feeling lightheaded? Which one is it? I'm
and
not
at
sure
this
which
point,
it
like,
is.
Kalinda hasn't told Will. So like I feel
Yeah.
like Will is super confused this entire episode. Like, he's
Yeah.
just like, what is going on? Who,
Uh-huh.
what? So Carrie calls Kalinda basically to say, like, I didn't know if you had any information for me, but I'm gonna leave the office so that you can take a look at some stuff. And she finds that on a legal pad in Carrie's office is all of these hearts. So she's like, okay, I gotta call Alicia. And she calls Alicia and she's like, listen, I know you're mad at me. You have to pick up the call. Alicia's in court. She ignores the call.
Hmm.
But basically, she's trying to tell Alicia, like, hey, like, Nancy and Carrie have been talking. They've been in cahoots.
Basically, like,
And
you in danger, girl. Pick up my phone
yeah,
call. There's some information you need to know. Alicia's like,
yeah.
nah, girl, I ain't picking up none of your phone calls no more. Bye. It's maybe an interesting look into the future to see like what is going to happen because of this Alicia and Kalinda icy relationship of like what are they going to miss out on? What how is it going to put them in jeopardy because Alicia refuses to talk to
This is
Kalinda?
going to
Now,
impact the
could
firm for sure.
yeah, could Kalinda have called Will as easily as she called Alicia? Sure, but that's not dramatic enough.
She could have texted also.
Yeah.
She could have just
Will was
said,
right there next to Alicia. Will could have,
yeah,
Kalinda could have called Will, said the same thing, but because it was Alicia ignoring her, now it looks like our people are dumb because they didn't know this information that Nancy Crozier is about to come out with.
yeah. So Nancy's got Stephanie, aka Sarah Silverman, on the stand. And as a housekeeping, like, what's a triad? Like, and they're like, oh, it's, three couples who have an agreement that happens. And of course, Nancy and her, she's like, oh, I can't even believe that that was a thing. But then, and she also, calls Stephanie a miss instead of a Mrs. And this gives Stephanie, again, another reason to say, like, look, no, I am married. Like, this is a real relationship to me. We just have different agreements. Like, this is, you don't need to concern yourself with it, but I am married to this man. And Nancy brings up the fact that there was a credit card charge at the St. Martin Hotel, which is where this man was castrated and murdered the same day that the murder happened. And so our team is like, wait, hold up. Like, what? What? And I think, like, even Stephanie herself is a little like, I was there because I was there. Like, I don't
Well,
know.
actually, I don't think it's on the same day. I think that she had charges on different days when what's his
Oh,
face Sean was also there. So they're kind of using that to show like, do you know Sean? Like, are you familiar with Sean? I don't think it was the same day. I just think that her
gotcha.
receipts lined up with the same days that Sean had a date on the site. So they kind of from there are surmising that Sean and Stephanie had met before. So I don't
And
think it was the
like
same
had
day the
quote
murder happened. Yeah.
unquote met before.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Met in the biblical way. They met.
Yes. Yeah. Diane and Will charge into Carrie's office. This was hilarious. Carrie's like, oh, I'm so sorry. My office is so small. You can't sit down. Oh, so bad. And Diane and Will are like, if you have something, just charge her. Like, do you have anything? Do something with it. And Carrie's like leaning back because he thinks he's like a big shot even more now. And he's just
Mm.
like, I'm investigating. Like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just investigating. And Will's like, you're using our case to prove something for you. And he's like, let's just say, like, I'm watching with interest.
Mhm.
And like Will and Diane leave, and Carrie calls out, like, next time call ahead, I'll have cookies. Like, so
there there is no one more insufferable than Kyriagos when he
right?
has something over on someone. There's no one more insufferable than that man.
Yeah. Yeah. So Stephanie does confirm that she did sleep with the murder victim. And Will's like, okay, well, this kind of changes things. We're going to have to make a deal on your civil case, and we're going to move on to defending you as a criminal.
I really don't understand why Stephanie didn't tell anyone on our side that
Yeah, I don't know.
fact. That had been important for us to know, Steph. Like you really should have come out with that in the first place.
Like, didn't they give the speech that they gave in that one episode to those two people that was like, if you
Yeah.
don't tell me the truth, like, you
Yeah.
gotta tell me the truth.
Like I know your first instinct is to lie, but don't lie to me. Lie to
Yeah.
anyone else, not me. I am the person with your best interest in mind. So you can tell me anything and it's fine. Yeah.
Alicia and Nancy try to come to a deal, and Nancy is like being pure Nancy in this case. Like, oh, that number is gonna not gonna work for me. And Alicia's like, well, what number would work for you? And Nancy's like, oh, you almost got me to say it. Oh no. And this guy in the state's attorney's office has been really helpful. He like he's giving me more names that we can put on the witness list. Like, he's so great. This is when Grace comes in to like interrupt, so we don't really know where that ends, but that's how that conversation was going. Back in court, Nancy puts on a couple of witnesses where there was a guy who saw her car parked in the garage of the hotel. There was a guy whose IP address was tracked to the person who made the date with, what's his name? What's the victim's name? Steve?
Sean.
Sean. who made the date with Sean, and then also said like, didn't these carpet fibers match a carpet that Stephanie had as well? And all of these witnesses are like, yes, this is information, but I have like no idea why I'm here. Like, this doesn't make any sense why I'm here in this capacity. And was like, okay, Kalinda, we need another suspect. So go find another suspect. Kalinda then, her finding another suspect plan was to go outside and just like take a picture of Dana, Sean's wife, the widow's car, and see how it looked in different lighting. And lo and behold, it matched. Like,
Yeah,
it
it
was
looks
such a simple like solution.
Yeah, man, this is Kalinda in her Kalinda senses, right? Because she's just chilling outside and she sees Dana talking to Nancy Crozier, and Kalinda's like, huh, she has a silver car. The car in the photo of the person that like peeled away from the hotel on the night had a silver car. Let's see how it looks under a fluorescent light. I don't know how she did that. I don't know if she
I
like
don't know how she
went
did that either.
I don't know if she like went and rented the same type of car and then put it in that parking lot and took pictures of it. Like, did she go to that length? Is it photoshopped? I don't know. But she
Well,
like
also let's remember that it's 2011 and like the most amount of megapixels that were on that phone had to be like 2. Like it there's no way that that could have produced that detailed of an image where you could like see the
true.
difference between that.
We're talking Motorola Razr or like
Yeah.
Sliver. Like those cameras were not that good. Well, maybe
No.
she took it with a professional camera. We don't know. But my thing
She
is like,
uses her BlackBerry.
did she rent a car and like take the
Oh
car
yeah, I don't know.
to the garage?
There's
And did she go that far and use a professional camera at that point? I don't know.
Yeah, there's another point in a moment where I'm like, how did this happen in 2011? But going back, they go back to court and Will's presenting this evidence. You know, after Kalinda presents it to her, this is when Will's like, you can't leave. And Kalinda's like, what do you think about Alicia? Like, just to bring you in the timeline of the other story. But they go back to court and Will's presenting this information about the car. And Nancy's like, are you suggesting that my client killed her own husband? And Will's like, yeah, thanks. Thanks so much for doing that.
Exactly.
And they continue to talk to the witnesses that she had brought up before, and they are able to like cast some doubt on their stories, because basically it's like, isn't that carpet like the most popular carpet fiber? And the guy's like, and the coffee shop guy was able to, I forgot what happened with that, but there was doubt there. So
yeah, he's never like, he knows that she is a person that shops there, but he did not recall seeing her that day. Yeah.
Right. Will tells Alicia, good job. Great job. If you ever like, this is at this point he knows Kalinda has told him. He's like, if you ever want to talk, like I'm here. And I'm like, okay.
If you ever want to talk about anything, like, I don't know, your marriage, the shape of the marriage, how it's doing, whether or not you want to hook up with me, I mean, just anything you want to talk about, I'm here for you.
I'm your dude. I'm your man. Yeah. This is when Kalinda has to prep Alicia, and we get the whole like, do you want me to find someone else? You mean someone who didn't sleep with my husband conversation? But Kalinda is basically telling Alicia at this point, like, okay, we've got everything except for I don't know where the profile picture came from on the website. And then she does this thing, which I don't even know how is possible. But basically, the profile picture is of a woman's lips, and she finds a bunch of other pictures of women's lips. Again, I need you to remember this is 2011. Like, Google image search wasn't that great. Like, I don't know how she was able to do this, but she then, like, one by one tries to find the one that matches, and she does. But I just was like, this is insane.
Yeah, this is Kalinda has like a supercomputer from 2020 or something. Like, she's doing this magically, but this is the magic of Kalinda. Kalinda is a superwoman, right? Kalinda is irreplaceable because she's the only person that could do this, right? Like, just so happens to find the exact right picture in a matter of less than 2 minutes. It's like, got it, solved it, we're all good. Like, done. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm a Kalinda. I do that. That's what Kalinda does. I just find stuff out. I'm super genius.
Tap, solved.
Done.
But she finds out that this photo came from a newspaper called the Fresno Star. And when you look at the editorial board of the Fresno Star, who is listed other than Stephanie's husband, Alec, is on the board.
Which, first of all, is very circumstantial evidence. Like, that's not going to convict anybody. That's very like flimsy evidence. But I like talking more about like the Kalinda magnificence of it. I wish you could have at least gotten like a time lapse of Kalinda's been doing
Oh,
this
yeah.
all night trying to find a lip
Yeah.
picture, but
Yeah,
to
because it
have
was
her do,
basically like in 5 seconds.
yeah, she found it like that, like simple. But yeah, that's the magistry of Kalinda, and the fact that Alec is on the board of this newspaper of this lip thing is like, is that gonna hold up in court? I don't think so, but I'm sure that they just kind of use this as an entrance to get into Alec, and I'm sure if we look more into Alec, we'll find more evidence that he is the killer.
Yeah, well, Diane, Will, and Alicia sit down and tell Stephanie, like, hey, we're still confirming this, but all signs point to the fact that your husband killed that guy. Like, we're just,
Mhm.
and like, Stephanie's like, what? Like, looking over at him, he's over in the other room, like, what? What? Like, what? How? What? And then she asks, like, why? Like, why do you think he did it? And they're like, well, obviously he was jealous. Like, I mean, he castrated someone. Like, this is
Oh my
like
god, yeah.
this is like a crime of like real passion happening here. She's like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't think he cared. Like, I
Listen,
and both like Will and Diane are like, you need to stay away from this man. Like, for your own safety, for your own good. Like, we are your lawyers. We are not his lawyers. Whatever you do, stay away from your husband.
what does she do? She gets up, runs over there, kisses
She's like, oh my
him.
gosh, you are jealous. Oh, I love you so much.
Like, bruh, if a guy is cutting another man's dick off, like that is like that's more than passion. That's a certified lover boy right there. He
Yeah.
loves the hell out of you if he's willing to go to those lengths. So yeah, you think at first she's about to go over there and like cuss him out or something. She grabs him and just starts kissing him. I'm like, oh my gosh, this lady is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but that's their relationship.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, he upped it a level, and I hope that isn't something that continues
I
in the
mean,
world.
but
But like, if you could just tell her that you like feel jealous. You don't have
right
to
there.
like show by killing someone.
All we had to do was have a conversation about you no longer wanting to have this ethical non-monogamous lifestyle. Now, will the response be what you want to hear? Which the response might be like, "Well, I do want to be ethically non-monogamous, so we might have to break up." No, but I think the conversation should have been had instead of going to go kill a man and cut
Yeah.
off his penis. That's probably not the best way to go. This just for all y'all out there in good pod land. Take it from us. Like that's just do not follow the
Do not.
same steps this man did.
No. No. We use your words.
Yeah.
Use your words. Yeah. So I was like, well, I didn't think that's what was going to happen, but we should probably negotiate something for her so she doesn't get in more trouble. And
Yeah.
then, like you said earlier, the episode ends with Diane really setting everybody up for this judge killer case. And I was like, did we hear about this judge killer before? And then, of course, if you're watching Elsbeth, I was like, you mean like a judge who is a killer? Like, oh, whoa, what's going on? But this is apparently someone who has targeted judges and killed them, and she thinks that like Childs is going to use this as his swan song in the state's attorney's office. So this is kind of like really gearing up for the finale. And she tells everyone like, hey, like don't do anything else for the next 2 weeks. This is our lives. So it was the first time we got kind of like a to be continued type of thing. I was surprised they were setting up this case on the way
Yeah.
out. But I
Yeah, I
know
think
they
we
were
have
doing that also to get Kalinda and Alicia like in the room to
yeah.
like look at each other. So
Yeah. I think we have gotten to be continued before somewhere. Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, just the way that we already talked about. Like, I don't know if you needed it to be continued. I think you just could have had Alicia and Kalinda in the same room and look at each other like that.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what we have in store for the season finale. I do not recall what happened in the season finale, but if I had my prediction, I'm going to guess that in this finale we get a Alicia and Will kiss, an admission of feeling, maybe. I don't know. I think it's going to be weird and awkward for Alicia when she realizes, oh, I'm kind of the other woman in the Tammy
Mm-hmm.
Will relationship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do I feel about that? So that's just my guess for the season 2 finale.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I want to see something happen on the Will and Alicia front. I don't know if it's going to go that far, but we'll see.
Mm,
I'd be happy if it
yeah.
did. I also think that there's going to be more friction between her and Kalinda, that it is going to start impacting the firm. And that might be what gets Alicia to tell Will, listen, I can't work with this person because she slept with Peter. You know what I mean? Like that might
Yeah.
get that to happen. I can't really predict anything else, but like right now, all of our people are in. Like Carrie's not moving. Like there's not a question
Right.
of if
Yeah.
he's going to get poached over. The firm isn't in some financial crisis like it has been before. You know, there's no power struggles that are going on at the moment. The only, like, I'm trying to figure out what other movement could we have in this finale other than a Will and
Yeah.
Alicia thing.
It's so weird that apparently that it seems like the firm is not in any financial trouble, even though they've lost Bond. I don't even know how that works. Like, do you keep Bond's money? Is that why you're fine now? I don't know. Because they talked to Carrie. What was it? It was last episode. They talked to Carrie about like, hey, we're hiring people back. We might need you back. Blah blah blah. It's like, so are you guys okay now? I feel like that's like a central theme throughout this whole show. It's just like, I have no idea how y'all manage your money because you seem to manage it rather poorly. I'm not sure.
Money just happens, you know, like that's how it works, Jason. I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
you've tried this,
guess.
but like if you manifest, like you can just like manifest money. Like, do you know, like if you just think about money enough,
Oh, okay.
like
I'm gonna
it
try
just
that.
comes to you. It literally just flows to you. This is not a scam. This is not anything that like white women talk about all the time. This is something that happens. This is just
I'm
something, this is how the
definitely.
world works. You don't have to, like, don't believe the fact that society has put barriers between you and earning money. Like, that is
No,
ridiculous.
no way.
Ridiculous. It's just because you didn't, like, call it in enough, Jason. Just
You didn't
call it
try
in.
hard enough to get money. You didn't try to think about it hard
Yeah.
enough. I get it. I
Yeah.
see. I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Not work hard enough. Not work hard enough, but
Yeah.
think about it enough. Be on the
Yeah.
same vibration as money.
Yeah. You just didn't want it enough. That's what it is. And yeah, well, I think at the very least, we're going to get a Will and Alicia conversation. Even if
Oh,
we
for
don't get
sure.
a
Yeah.
kiss, we don't get a something, they'll be like, hey, I want you. You want me. Let's see if we can make it happen.
Like, do we go? Like, is now it? Like, do we press go? Do we
Yeah.
press go on this? Is this where we're going?
Will's like, let me call Tammy. I'll be right back with you. Let me have Tammy see if it's too late for her to get on that flight to London to go cover the
Yeah,
Olympics.
yeah. Like, the
I would
Olympics are
love to see a
calling.
I would love to see a pissed off Tammy after Will tells her, like, you know what I told you about not going to London? Is it too late for you to go to London? She's like, yeah, I just told them not to. He's like, well, funny enough, I actually want to break up because I have, have this thing over here with Alicia. I would love to see Tammy like come in there and like tear up his office or something. I don't know.
I want her to be like, I knew it. Like, I told
Uh-huh.
you, I shouldn't have trusted. Like, ah. Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be fun.
yes, for sure. Excited to see what we have in store next time.
Indeed, which is going to be
Yeah,
right after this episode. We will
yeah, for
press
sure,
play.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, Marissa, that's the
Yeah.
episode. Do you want to tell all our friends where they could find you and what you're talking about on the interwebs?
Well, I have my own website, not like that. Just my own.
Yeah.
It's just a website with links to my stuff that you can find at itsmemarissag.com. Join my mailing list. You can find me on different social medias. All the links are there. And if I'm up to something fun and exciting, I will tell you there. But Jason, I
Nice.
know we have an ethical, non-monogamous podcasting relationship. So why don't you tell the people about what's going on in your in your triads outside of here?
Yeah, my other podcast partners, I do have a couple things going on. First of all, you can follow me on Blue Sky at JR33D if that's your thing. As far as podcasting goes, I am on the Imperfect Match Patreon podcast right now with my co-host Asia Welch as we talk about the show Married at First Sight. We're going back into the past and talking about past Married at First Sight episodes, seasons. So we're having fun with that. If that's your kind of thing, come on over. We're having a great time over there. Also, we're in the home stretch of the Daredevil Born Again season. Me and Sasha Joseph are talking about that over on the We Know Scripted TV side of Rob Has a Podcast. So if you're into that, come over there for that as well. I'm sure there's other things going on in my world. If you want to follow what's going on with me, Blue Sky is where you're going to find that. So that's where I'm at. Till next week, folks. Stay good.